Halloween isn't dangerous because of monsters or demons. The real threat lives across your street. The people you wave to. The ones who smile too wide. Every house you pass has secrets behind its locked doors. Some neighbors celebrate Halloween once a year. Others never stop. If you live next to someone who watches your house a little too closely, you might not want to hear what comes next. These are 3 real stories from viewers who discovered they weren't living near neighbors at all. They were living near nightmares. Turn on a light. Check your doors. Let's begin. My neighbor's house always looked like Halloween exploded on it. Orange lights tangled across the porch. Plastic tombstones leaning in the yard. A hanging skeleton that creaked when the wind moved it. None of it ever came down. January. Still there. July. Still there. September. Somehow more decorations. Everyone said the owner was just eccentric. A collector. A guy who loved horror. I never saw him though. I'd lived next door for 9 months and not once did I see a face in the window or footsteps on the grass. The mailbox remained empty. No car in the driveway. No visitors. I thought maybe it was a rental no one used. Until one night in October. I was taking out trash around midnight. Leaves were blowing everywhere. I heard a scraping, slow and steady. I froze, staring at his yard. The skeleton was moving, not swinging from the wind. His feet were dragging. The rope was unwinding around his neck like he was trying to break free. My first thought was that someone was messing around inside the house, pulling wires. I kept telling myself it was a prank. I finished my trash and rushed back inside. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't shake the image. That skeleton wasn't hanging anymore. It was inches from the ground. The next morning, I went outside before work. My yard was clean. His yard looked normal. Decorations still creepy. But the skeleton. It was back in position, rope fully wrapped, still as a corpse. For a few days, nothing happened. Then Halloween night arrived. Kids were everywhere. Screaming, laughing, running house to house like usual. I stayed on my porch handing out candy. I kept glancing at the neighbor's place. No lights on. Decorations dark. No one trick-or-treating there. A little girl in a witch costume pointed to the house. "Why does that skeleton look sad?" she asked. I followed her finger. The skeleton's head was turned, and the eye sockets were facing me. I blinked. It was definitely staring my direction. I stepped closer to my property line. The wind was strong. Decorations shook, except the skeleton, perfectly still, watching. Then a low voice whispered from the porch, "Help me." My heart dropped. I leaned forward. That skeleton. It wasn't plastic. The skin looked dry, gray, shrinking. The jawbone wasn't hinged with screws. Real teeth. The rope tightened around the neck as if someone pulled it from inside the house. I stepped back slowly. 2 police cars showed up a week later. They broke down the door. The smell spread across the street. My neighbor was inside, long dead, likely since last year's Halloween. Those decorations? They were his trophies. The skeleton outside was a missing person. And somewhere in that house, someone else had been trapping victims. Even after the owner died. The decorations are gone now. The windows boarded up. The house is for sale. No one wants to move in. I still live there. And every few nights, I wake up because I hear that same scraping noise. It comes from the yard next door. My neighbor was an older woman named Mrs. Cole. Always soft-spoken, always smiling, always staring a second too long. She lived alone. Her husband died years ago. She mentioned a son sometimes, though no one had ever seen him. Every Halloween, she would sit in a rocking chair on her porch, offering cookies wrapped in foil. Not candy. Cookies. Most kids avoided her place, thinking she was just weird. Last year, I made the mistake of being kind. I said hello. She smiled way too big, like it hurt her face. "You look just like my boy," she said. I laughed awkwardly, but she reached for me. "Come look. Come inside. I want to show you his room." I told her I had to meet my friends. She kept insisting. Her grip got tighter. "He misses company. Come say hello." When I pulled away, her nails scratched my wrist. I didn't go near her place again. A week later, she knocked on our door. My mom let her in. Mrs. Cole hugged me like we were family. "He used to hug me just like that," she whispered. My mom loved the attention. She invited her for dinner. They got along too well. Mrs. Cole kept staring at me the whole meal. Her eyes followed my every bite, every breath. Before she left, she leaned close and said, "You should visit me soon. He will be so happy." I didn't sleep that night. Halloween arrived again. My friends and I planned to go out late. At sunset, someone knocked. Mrs. Cole. She had an old Polaroid clutched in her shaking hands. "See," she said. "My boy. Same face. Same eyes." She showed me the picture. A child stood there with dark, terrified eyes. His smile shaky and wrong. Behind him was a basement door. I tried handing the photo back, but she grabbed my wrist harder than last time. "He's waiting," she pleaded. "He's so lonely. Please come tuck him in." Her voice cracked with something frightening. Grief or madness. I shut the door gently but firmly. She stood outside for hours. Around midnight, my phone rang. Unknown caller. I answered. It was her voice. Whispering. "He's awake." I looked out the window. Her rocking chair moved by itself. The porch light flickered. Her front door stood open. My curiosity won. I stepped outside with my phone recording, slowly crossing the street. Inside her house, everything smelled like dust and old fruit. Wallpaper peeling. Air cold. "Mrs. Cole." I whispered. A soft rasp answered from deeper inside. "Down here." The basement door was wide open. The same one from the photo. I ran home faster than I ever had in my life. The next morning, police cars circled the block. Yellow tape. Officers going in and out of her house. My mom said a disturbance was reported. Mrs. Cole was taken to a hospital for psychiatric evaluation. What they found in the basement wasn't her son's room. It was a child's cell. Mattress on the floor. Chains bolted to the wall. Drawings everywhere of the same face. My face. Different ages. Smiling. Crying. Sleeping. The worst part wasn't the drawings, though. It was the date written under each one. Predictions. Of future birthdays. Like she was preparing for the day her son would return. Through me. We moved 3 months later. But sometimes my phone rings past midnight. Always the same number. Always silent. Until she whispers. He still misses company. My neighbor, Mr. Clay, always wore the same cheap Halloween mask. Pale rubber skin, wide grin, hollow cartoon eyes. He trimmed bushes in that mask. Took out trash in that mask. Even got his mail wearing it. Everyone assumed he loved Halloween. Or maybe he had scars. We didn't question it. It became a running joke. Mask guy. Last Halloween, he started getting bold. He stood at the end of driveways, watching kids trick-or-treat. Never saying a word. Just breathing through the mask. Occasionally lifting a gloved hand to wave. Parents avoided him, pulling their kids to the other side of the street. Around 10 p.m., the night was almost over. Kids were heading home. I noticed Mask Guy staring at a house 2 doors down. A family with young twins lived there. The lights were still on. Kids laughing inside. He took a step toward their walkway. Then another. Slow and steady. Like he had all the time in the world. I walked toward him. "Sir, you okay?" No response. Just that plastic grin facing me. I tried again. "Are you lost?" He tilted his head once. Then pointed at the house's back door. A chill shot down my spine. "No," I said. "Go home." He didn't listen. He started walking faster. I shouted at him. He ignored me. So I ran. I sprinted around the house and reached the backyard first. Their back door was locked. I yelled for the parents. They thought it was a prank. I looked through the window. Masked guy was right there behind me. He placed his gloved hand on the glass, inches from my face, and he leaned forward, listening. The lights inside the house flickered. Kids screamed. Parents rushed to lock the front door too. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911 with shaking fingers. Masked guy slowly stepped back, tilted his head again, then walked away. Police arrived 8 minutes later. He was gone. Next day, a detective came to question everyone on the street. They said Masked guy wasn't a neighbor at all. That house had been empty for months. The power was supposed to be off. The yard uncut. The mail uncollected. The person who lived there died last year, which means someone else had been living inside that house, watching us the whole time, wearing that same mask, waiting. The detective told us there had been similar break-ins in different towns. Children missing. Masks found in garbage cans. A pattern of someone hunting homes with young kids. He was never caught. The house was boarded up. Every morning since, I check my Ring camera. I always pray it shows nothing, but sometimes, while scrolling back through footage, I see a figure at 3 a.m. A man, wearing a cheap plastic mask, standing perfectly still across the street, waiting to slip it off. If you think you know your neighbors, remember this night. Halloween doesn't create monsters. It reveals the ones already living next door, the ones who never knock, the ones who don't need a mask to blend in. If you're hearing this late at night, look outside your window. Make sure the street is empty, because if someone is watching your house right now, they aren't a stranger. They're already your neighbor. Stay safe. Lock your doors. And I'll see you in the next nightmare.